You're listening to the voices of the Occultinarium. We are inviting you to cross the threshold of the unknown.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of the Occultinarium. We are the voices of the Occultinarium, and tonight's lovely hosts are
I'm Luigi.
Emily?
Adriana.
and Lynn. This episode, we wanted to go a little bit, not off record, but is it off topic? I'm not sure. We'll see. We might get on topic with the magic and the weird. We wanted to talk about animals. Pretty straightforward, or you might think. It was all off of a tangent because we all know that Luigi loves ducks. And we started talking about ducks and how amazing they are. And then we're like, and what are we going to record next session? It's like, let's talk about animals. So here we are talking about our favorite animals and why they're our favorites, and maybe dip a little bit into childhood and if there's any magical connection we have to those animals, and if they're connected to spiritual animals or not. That I think we're thinking of tackling in an extra episode, because spirit animals and power animals is a big topic. So we'll probably see you in a later episode for that, as well as mystical creatures, because that's also amazing. All right. As always, we're going to do a tarot card that we are going to pick in the beginning. And this time it's going to be me again. So I will shuffle and pick one in secret. And at the end of the episode, we will reveal it. But if you feel like guessing, drop in the comments below. But we can start. If you just go a little round around, very quick, and say our top favorite animals. If it's one, up to 3, whatever. Because magical 3. Let's see. Amelie, what's your favorite animal or your favorite animals?
My favorite animal is bats. I like bats. I think they're great, they're cute and all of that. I also do like cats. It's just so, I just feel like it's so generic. I do like cats because they just do whatever they please. I do like bats. I mean, I like a lot of animals, but I think those ones are the 2 that I like top favor.
Favorites. What about you,
Oh.
Luigi?
Well, we did already discuss how much I like ducks. I think when I grew up, I had a lot of them running around the garden. But if I have to speak from a perspective of favorite animal or animals, definitely the crow or the raven. You know, the corvus, I suppose, a type of
Yes.
bird. Very intelligent, great personalities, almost human, I would say. And elephants. I think I only seen an elephant once in my life, but I got very teary when I saw it, and they're just so majestic.
Yeah, I can hook in on that in a bit. But Adriana, what's your favorite?
I love all animals.
Yes,
Found them.
You have to pick
But
some.
Pick favorites.
For me, the dog. The dog
Mhm.
is a very special place in my life because I grew up with dogs. We have several animals. My father used to bring very exotic animals from the Amazonian rainforest, like deers and, little tigers that is like tigrillos and so on. They was as pets. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so but to me, dogs was always like my companions, and I adore them. I adore dogs. But snakes, I love snakes.
Oh,
So yes, I
Yeah.
love snake, and I love to feel them. The boa constrictor and so on. When I was at uni studying biology, microbiology, I have a colleague that he was specializing in crocodilia and reptiles. He had crocodiles and had snakes in his house. And I
Wow.
love,
jeez.
there was one boa constrictor. I love to hold her and put it underneath of my chair because they are cold blood animals. And the sensation in your skin is so delicious. The sensation is amazing, So Charlie,
Yeah.
and I have an anecdote. We went to a bar one night and we were like 8 biologists, that crazy people. And I decided to take the snake with me. And when I was ordering my cocktail, I put my hand like that, and the snake came out, and they threw us out of the bar because I had the snake with me.
Surprise.
So yes, it's dogs and snakes, I have, genuinely love. I think I have more love for animals than for humans. So yes, I think
Yeah.
animals, it has been always my companions. Yes, I have a lot of anecdotes. Growing up in Colombia, so it's like your
Wow.
father brings you a deer or a little tiger, as a
Yeah.
pet.
Yeah.
So, but
Is it those
so
small?
yes.
Is it those small jungle deers? You mean because I know there's like these tiny little deers. Is
Yes,
it
there
those? You
is
mean yeah, these
a
tiny
yes,
ones?
there was like
Yeah,
a Bambi,
Chica or
Bambi
something.
one. It was
Yeah.
like I think someone killed the mother, and this was an
Oh.
orphan. So father brought it home, like, hey, can you pet? So
Wow.
yes,
That's the
so
dream.
but dogs and snakes are yes, are my favorite ones.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Len?
For me, it shifts. I mean, I'm in the same boat as Adriana. I love pretty much all animals except for parasites. I love all animals.
Yes.
And yeah, they're the better humans, but we all know that. We are also animals, I think. It's just the human being is my least favorite animal.
Yes.
I think they're right there with the parasites.
But we are, yes.
Yeah, well, there's exceptions, like you guys, But my favorites now, the top favorite is foxes, and so it's foxes, yes, and black panthers because I gotta be special, and also corvids, crows,
Okay.
yeah, corvid types. I found interesting, Adriana, that out of the many animals there are, you actually picked, but for you, both animals are in the Chinese zodiac as well.
Yes.
Did you ever
Yes.
realize this?
No,
So you
no,
picked
and
zodiac.
I'm a horse. I'm a horse, and in the solar one, I'm a Taurus. So I can have a
Yeah,
zoo completely. Yeah,
you
there.
have a
Yes,
zoo. That's
yes,
right.
yes. Plus animal
Yeah.
guides.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. And for Luigi,
Yes,
like your theme seems to be flying. Like you have birds. You seem to be very
Yeah,
much
I
into the
did notice
bird.
that.
yes,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I like creatures that fly. And I think
Mhm.
it's because whether you want to consider that spiritually or metaphorically, like I have a bit of to me the ability to fly represents the key to freedom. And obviously
mm,
we cannot
Mm.
fly out of our own accord. We
Mm.
need machinery, I suppose. So I really, when I say envy, I don't mean that I envy with a withering sensation. I get inspired by the fact that birds have this not magical, natural ability
Mm.
to take flight, like no limits. And they can
Mm.
get to explore the world at their own
Mm.
pace. They get a different perspective than ours. They get almost
Yeah.
a divine perspective, I guess,
Mm.
from up there.
Mm.
Uh, yeah.
It's
I
very
do I do
Icarus.
love I do love crows as well. Crows and ravens. They're just
Mm.
so intelligent. I have the couple that is living in one of the trees here, and I
Mhm.
see them from time to time, and it's so cute because it's definitely like a married couple kind of a thing, He
Mm.
goes, finds some food, she comes, and you can see them like it's like clockwork sometimes if you
Mm.
go out at the same time, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah, there was
Mm.
one that we had growing up. My nephews at the time, they were very little. And obviously, growing up in London, in the big city, you don't really get to see pets. Well, you don't
Mm.
really get to see pets all the time, but also, I guess you don't get to see unique pets, such as, for example, a raven. And when
Mm.
they saw her, the raven that we used to raise in the garden, they got all very excited. And they were screaming and shouting and throwing their arms around. And it sounds cute. It was cute, but she got very scared, because she
Mm.
sees all this crazy movement. And so she starts getting very agitated and flaps
Mm.
the wings. And gets in like in a position of not attack, but like wants to peck, like stay away
Mm.
from me. And then I
Mm.
came in between her and my nephews, and
Mm.
I was so amazed by that because as soon as she saw my body, she stopped, almost like
Wow. Yeah.
I know, and I felt like I'm being recognized. I'm being seen.
Yeah. I mean, they do recognize faces. People, figured
and
that out.
for
Yeah.
very long time, they have a great
Yes.
memory. They can
Yeah.
Mm.
remember
They
someone.
even Yeah, and they will teach their children as well. So and that's like my kind of plan because I go out there and I have there's a few flocks of crows around that I've been working for several years to become my friends. And
Yes.
this winter, it's like the first time that there are 2 of them, I think, or maybe it's 3. It's like from different flocks, but that actually have come to my hand and pick food from my hand. And it was like the best days like ever. It's like, yeah, I'm just sitting there like, yes. I'm like, just come on, you can do it. And then they go like, pick. And I'm like, yeah, it's such an elated feeling, I think, to be trusted by wild animals,
Yes.
You established a
it
rapport.
means so much. So yeah, I love those 2 flocks. And sometimes 'cause obviously there's lots of stories, but I've had this first experience that was like one of the first experiences that were like kind of like, wow, what the hell? I was like out with my dog and I was in like this park area, public park, and there were like some people around, right? And I see like there's like 1 or 2 crows, and then I start, throwing some food, and I thought like, I don't think this is my flock because they were kind of shy, and I know from the flocks that know me, there's always like 1 or 2 that come like swooping in and are like, oh, there you are, where's our food, But these were really shy, so I was just like, like giving them some treats, and then after 5 minutes, and I was listening to music, I wasn't even like fully like focused. After a few minutes, there were like 10, and then there were like 15, and there were like 20, and there were 30. And I was just walking. And at the end, I was like walking with this flock of crows of like 50. I mean, they were in different distance to me, but I counted and there were like around 50, and they like flew with me while I was walking. And then that was
That's
so
wonderful.
interesting to see. It was, and I wished I had like a really cool outfit at that point, but it's winter, so it's like my winter coat and my dog vest and stuff. So not really that cool at all. But I was walking, and the kind of interesting thing to see is how people react, because so many people don't react. They're on their phones the entire time. They don't see anything. If I were walking around and somebody was like in a fucking flock of ravens or crows or even pigeons or whatever, I would be like, what's going on, But people are like, they don't see it. And some people were like, some people were gawking. They were like, what is this? I'm just like, no, I'm just walking with my crows.
I find like when I was living in London, I found that the crows were the animals that you could get the closest to. It was crows and squirrels as well. I do love squirrels. They're just funny.
Yeah.
But it kind of depends what park. I lived really close to Hampstead Heath, so there was a lot of like squirrels, quite a lot of crows as well. But surprise, surprise, one of my favorite places to go to like just relax was the Highgate Cemetery.
Oh, of course.
Honestly.
Yeah, of course.
Surprise, surprise.
It's
But
so
it was
lovely,
really close
though.
to me.
Yeah.
It was pretty close. I mean, it was a bit of a walk from where I lived, but it was really nice, specifically summertime, just to walk there. And there was definitely like crows around. And when you just like sitting and walking, you kind of like sit and talk to them, or they come to you, or you just have like a connection with them. I also found like there was a few like magpies as well.
Yes.
But is the crows that are they just look like they're very curious of you. But like, who are you? What are you doing? Is almost like they want to know who you are. Well, I found like the magpies are more like, I'm here, look at me. I'm sassy. But like that.
Yeah. That's quite true. I find that might be true. There's also like lots of magpies here in Oslo, and there's also one couple that knows me a little bit. Like I've not seen them in ages, but there are also some that came closer and took up a little bit of contact. And I remember that was the first time I actually heard them sing, or like they have like a quite melodious voice if they want to. It's not just like And I was like sitting there. It's like, wow, can you do that again? I will give you more food. So I was sitting there and doing like the twittering, and I'm like, oh wow, that actually sounds nice. Yeah.
Paid entertainment.
Yes, paid entertainment. Of course, you gotta give the artists some.
You gotta reward them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find them
Right.
quite
Although I'm
mystical as
talking
well.
the magpies, yeah. I mean, talking about like crows and stuff, actually found a lot of people think that bats are just like in caves and places, but actually quite a few places where I lived, I used to have bats flying around in the evening, and where I am right now as well. Like if I go out in the evening, obviously not now because they're hibernating, but in the evening just before the sun goes completely down, you can see loads of them. And the cute ones are like the really tiny ones, and they're just really fast as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really interesting. I normally just go out and look at them and talk to them, and they just so tiny. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm kind of hoping that they will like come sit on my shoulder. Actually not. So when I was a little, I don't know how old I was. The town where my mum used to live, they have a silver mine. It's not like it's an old silver mine, so you can go there and visit it.
Is that in
And
Poland or is that in
no, that's in
Sweden?
Sweden.
That's in
Yeah, that's
Sweden.
in
Yeah.
Sweden. That's in Sweden. So I must have been like maybe 8 or 9 or something like that. And we're like, let's go and visit this mine and see what's down there. And there is like, most people go to a certain like level, but then there's like an additional one that is even deeper. And obviously they all decided to go there. And I got so scared because a bat flew out and he just grabbed my hair and like pulled
Okay.
it like with the feet.
Yes.
And I just had like a proper fit. And then I was like, and the man was like, don't scream that much because like it's a cave, things can fall.
Right.
So since then, like I kind of
Control
like
your
got,
panic.
yeah, it was like, but I wonder if he just said that just to say it. But that at that time, I got really scared. But I don't think it was because it was a bat. I think it was because it came from out of nowhere in a place where I was already scared, and it was really dark as well. So I couldn't see it. So
And it's the
I guess
shock
that
as
was like,
well.
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
shock, right? Then you just yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
know, I wasn't expecting any animals to be down there, to be honest, because there's a lot of people visiting, and I just did not expect any animals to be there. So he scared me, but maybe he was just trying to say like, look, I'm here, so you better worship me. So that's what I did, so they wouldn't scare me anymore. And after that, we like that.
Oh, yeah, that's great. I mean, I like bats. I know my best friend, her favorite animal is also bats. The fruit bats, like the South American ones, especially like the flying foxes. Yeah, she loves those. They're so pretty and they're so large too. Like they're yeah. But when I was a child, or also like growing up a teen, we used to have this big zoo where I used to live, one of the biggest in the country, and it's actually it's done a lot of like great work to rehabilitate animals and to make it as nice for the animals as possible in the zoo as well. But either way, they had like a little bat cave, and that was just like a little area where you like could go in. There were like bats and other kind of small nocturnal animals like scorpions and stuff. It was a very small space, and a lot of people that would go in there and they would not realize that the bats were flying around freely, because people, it's dark, they go in, they look, they're like, oh yeah, okay, there's a few scorpions, there's axolotls, it's fine, we go back out. But I was like, no, the bats are flying free. So I would just go in there for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I would just stand still. Then you would, firstly, you would start seeing better, obviously, because you get used to the darkness. So suddenly you see them like on the walls and on the ceiling, and you see them flying around. And then if you just stood still, they would also like notice, okay, you're there and you're not moving, you're not doing anything. So they would get really close and you would like be able to feel like the air from them. And I also like at some point I was also just like, because I'm me, right? So I just stretch out my hand. I'm like, maybe I'm get lucky or something. And I remember one time, actually, like I just had my hand out and then a bat landed on my finger. And I mean, they're tiny, they're like maybe like this, right? So it kind of landed or half landed, it's kind of, it landed on my finger, and then I guess it tried to check whether I had a food. So it bit me a little bit on the finger. It like bit me and I was like, what? And then it flew off. But I had just this like 1 second where I had a bat in my hand, and it was so soft and so warm, and it surprised me. So I was a little bit like, because it bit my
Maybe you
finger.
thought that your finger was a worm.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
mean they're also fruit. So vegetable and fruit bats, but there were like bananas and stuff strewn around sometimes, and I guess sometimes people maybe offer them food. I don't know. So I think it tested whether my finger was like, or maybe it looked like a banana, you know. So it's like, maybe it's a banana. It's like, not a banana. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. So it was like,
there are a lot of
yeah.
bats in Colombia, obviously, as you can expect,
Yeah.
in the tropics, and
vampires.
vampires, bats as well. But the issue is that, yeah, you can go in caves nearby in Antioquia, where the famous Pablo Escobar has his farm. There is a cave that is full of bats, and it's wonderful to be there. But they are very smelly, you know, the manu, the poo is
guano.
very smelly, guano. So, and particular as well, we used to have a farm, and they used to make a nest in one of the bedrooms in the ceiling. And when they are baby, they are making noise all night. So you cannot sleep because it's like a squeaky noise, you know.
Yeah.
So you start seeing them like a little pest there. And particularly they say, oh, be careful, can have rabies and they can bite you. And, you know, you have to be very careful with that. So the perception of the bat is of fascination but disgust at the same time. That people are very, you know, apprehensive. For example, there is monkey howlers, so you can hear the monkeys howling, and you can see the bats. But unfortunately, sometimes the bats fall in the swimming pool and some drown. So, but I was like running into the swimming pool very early in the morning with the little thing that, you know, for fishing things, you know.
Yeah.
And trying to save as many as I could, you know, trying to take them out of the swimming pool and allow them to dry and so on. Because even if you are scared of an animal or you find that it's not appealing and so on, I have been always compelled to help the animal, even if it's in distress. There are other people say, oh, don't touch it, or don't get close, or, you know, leave it there, and so on. I was not. I had to go to help and save them. So yes, that is the experience I have with bats, you know, that I love them. I think they are beautiful. I admire their ecosystem, you know, for echolocation. I think they are extremely evolved. Some of them, they are beautiful. Some they are quite really particular looking.
Yeah, they're not all very cute.
They have a beauty that only their mother can love them.
Yeah.
But I found them fascinating. As a species, I found that they are amazing, amazing. They sense how they evolve. And it's a mammal that flies. So
Yeah, exactly.
what else
They
you
cheat the
can,
system.
you know, request? Yes. So no, yes, I have a lot of admiration and love for the bats as well.
Yeah.
I
I'm
love
sure
also you get to see like these little reels and things on Instagram of people that are taking care of bats, and they put them in like a little burritos and stuff, and their eyes
Yes.
are just like so innocent and so cute. Just you just want to like cuddle it.
Yeah.
And they seem to be so like playful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think hopefully I'm not the only one. I'm sure plenty of people do it, but whenever I feel down, sometimes I will go on Instagram and I will look specifically for the many reels where people are feeding the flying foxes, and that
Yes.
Yes.
usually cheers me up.
Yes.
You know, just when they're like, because they're like, you know, they're wrapped in their own wings, so they're like almost cozy and sleepy, I suppose. And then you feed them the banana pieces. They're like
Yeah,
little
then they go
bebes.
like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like you
just
can
upside down.
you can
Yes.
see that they're enjoying it as
Yes.
well. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it brings me so much pleasure. So it cheers me up whenever I see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's amazing.
Yeah. You know, I've the only charity that I'm still giving money to every month is the bat conservation here in the UK. And I've
Okay.
done this probably for I don't know how long.
Yeah.
It must have been maybe like 8 years or so.
You're a real
Around
patron
about.
of the bats.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just something that happened because I was reading stories of how, specifically in the UK, because it gets so cold. So,
Yes.
because they're hibernating, and then they sometimes, because the weather is so up and down, and sometimes they wake up and then they don't have any food. So, a lot of them die because of that. So, I thought, why not? So, every month I'm donating money so they can save bats. It's
That's a
in a
good
little
cause.
suburb somewhere in London.
Yeah, that's a real good cause. Yeah, give it to the animals.
Yeah.
So what about you guys and your like the favorite animals you have now? Are they the same as you had as when you were children, or did that change? Or do you remember what your
Oh, that's a
favorite
good
animal was?
question.
Yeah, do you
I
remember?
think when I was a child, my favorite animal was the dolphin.
Oh yeah.
But that's
Okay.
because, when I grew up, like, at least in Italy, or at least in my circle,
Flipper,
Flipper was a big,
Flipper,
yeah,
Yeah.
Flipper.
it was a,
Yes,
it was a big film. Like,
yes,
everybody was
Mhm.
watching it.
yes.
Mm.
And also, like dolphins, they're not necessarily animals that, unless you see them on TV, you don't really see
Mm.
them outside of your doorstep, isn't it?
Mm, mm,
So I think, I don't know, they're so gracious. They emanate joy and happiness.
Mhm.
So I think
mm.
when I was a child, I had the dolphin, but again, for a very cinematography related reason.
Mm. Mm. What about you, Emily? Do you remember, or did you?
I really liked like rodents.
Mhm.
I really like little like mice, and I like rats if they're like white rats with long tails and red eyes.
Mhm.
I really love those.
Mhm.
Rabbits. Really loved rabbits. My grandfather used to have rabbits on his little allotment place. He did eat them eventually and then make
Yes,
coats out of them, but before he
Mm.
did that, I could play with them.
Mm.
yes.
I was really into I couldn't have a pet when I was a kid, so I got the hamster.
Mhm.
And yeah, I thought it was really cute. So I'm not really sure if I like the rodents just because I really like the rodents, or it
Mm.
was a thing because that was the only pet I could have. But
Mm.
my
Mm.
cousin's friend, his best friend, he had a rat, and I must have been like 6 years old or so,
Mm.
and I was just totally blown away with this rat. My mum thought he was absolutely disgusting, but I thought it was like ever so cute, and he let me play with it as well. And so I was like, yeah, I want to have a rat, but I
Mhm.
could never have a rat. But hamster was okay because they did not have long tails,
Yeah. All right. What about
apparently.
Me,
was
no.
it different?
As I say, because I have dogs since I
Mhm.
was, but I think when I was born, that there was already dogs in the house. So
Mm.
dogs
Mm.
has been a constant
Mm.
member of the family. Probably the
Mm.
only member I really like to be with.
Mm. Yeah. I'm like
No
that with
offense, but
I'm like
I
that
was
with
the only
cats.
the
Mm.
only daughter with brothers, only all of them men. So I
Mm.
think that the dog, it was my refuge, it was my companion. And
Mm.
particularly for the symbolism of the dog, the unconditional love and protection and loyalty and kindness is your best friend, is your companion, is your guardian. So you feel very protected with the dog. So I think I grew up with the dog,
Mm.
plus all the other exotic pets and.
Mm.
And very
Mm.
funny, but my school, it was, like have a lot of gardens and open space and so on. And there it was a lot of little frogs that were like this big green
Mhm.
frogs.
Mhm.
And they were the like beetles as well.
Mhm.
And I used to use my breaks for lunchtime and so on, catching the frogs and the beetles and play with them. I found that beautiful frogs. They are this big, green, 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 green. I found that they were completely beautiful. So yeah, playing with beetles, playing with frogs, dogs, deers, little tiger, and
Mm.
so on. So
Mm.
yes, and I think that you
You
get
name
used
it.
to. Yeah, you get used to to play with frogs and beetles. Yeah.
Mm.
So yes,
Mm.
no, I never have that element of fear towards animals. A
Mm.
lot of people have that, jumping or whatever. No,
Mm.
I didn't. I was more like curiosity to look and hold them. So
Mm.
yes, I think I have probably a close relationship with animals since I was a child.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, same. Like I grew up on the countryside, although like my grandparents, they used to live in the city where the aforementioned zoo was, and I was born in that city, but I always like lived outside on the countryside. I mean, the fear fear of animals is, as far as I know, is really just learned. Like if you put a child into like a baby, a toddler into a room with whatever animal, it will normally not be scared. Like you can throw snakes on it and it's just gonna be like interested in it. And so most of the fear is just learned, or you look at your parents and what they do. And I used to be the neighbor's kid that like, we had a neighbor and he was kind of squeamish, and we all had like gardens, and then there was like a little like a metal thing that went down to the basement, and they like sometimes animals would fall, like small animals like frogs would fall into that. And he was very he was scared of like frogs and toads and mice. And then every time there was like something that had been caught in that little thing and they couldn't get back up, they would call me. They would get like, they was like, hey, can you come? I have like a toad in there. And I'd be like, yes. So I'd like would come and then catch the toad, and then I would have it like a little bucket, and I would like have a little bicycle and go to the little. We had some small lakes close by, or ponds, like big ponds. I'm not sure what you call them, and I would just put them back, and well, the mice I would just take out. So it was always like this fascination with all kinds of animals, really, or even spiders. Like I was not afraid
Me
of
too.
spiders when I was
I
a
was
child
forgot to
either.
mention it. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
still
and I really like.
not.
Yeah,
Still,
no, me neither. I like them.
my son is petrified of spiders. So
Yeah.
he called me to say that he has a spider asking me to go to take her. And I'm incapable to kill them. I don't want to kill any animal, only if it's a mosquito, yes, but the rest. So I grabbed the spider and very kindly I put her out. And I told to them, I said, please don't be in this room because, you are scaring the boy. And so, and he was looking at me and said, why are you talking to a spider? You are the most weird mom that everyone can have. He said, kill
I
her,
don't
kill
know.
her. I said, no, 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 no. We don't kill anything here. We don't kill anything here.
It
I don't know if
doesn't it
it's.
doesn't it doesn't sound crazy to me at all. I used to be a bit scared of spiders, but I think it's because my mom was scared of spiders. But the last place I lived in London, it was a really, really old flat. So there was loads of nooks and crannies, and they had spiders coming out. And for the first time, I was like, I'm just going to leave you there, because they were making these little spider webs and things. And there was a spider at first. Maybe it wasn't the same spider, but in my mind, it was the same spider. There was a spider in my bathroom, and he was hanging on the ceiling, and I used to call him Herbert the pervert because he was in my bathroom looking at me while I was having a shower. And I think he
bless.
just got really, really scared. And then I saw him in the kitchen, and it was one of those ceiling window things, and he was just there. And I was like, so now you moved. So I called him Herb because of herbs in the kitchen, and
Yes.
Herbert. So
Yeah.
that was Herb, and I let him live there. And in the evening, he crawled into that little bit.
Crevices, yeah.
Or he was sleeping, and then he was waking up. So I never used to like close the window properly because I just didn't want to, like, it was always slightly open because he had the spider web. And then one day I did not see him, and I was waiting 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, a week, and he never came out. And I am very sure that he just died in one of those little crevices. So I made him a little tombstone on the windowsill.
Oh, that's so sweet. It was like your old flatmate.
He was my old flatmate, and I loved him dearly. And he is the one that maybe made me be way less scared of spiders than I used to. And now I know it was just my mom. It wasn't the fact that the spiders. But I do have some crazy big spiders in the garden, I have to say. I do not really want to like pet them or anything, but I
No.
just let them be.
I don't know if it's scientific or not, and I don't remember where I heard this or read this. But when you were talking about not wanting to kill spiders, obviously for human, for compassionate reasons, like we shouldn't harm any life and whatnot. But also, in addition to that, I believe, I don't know if it's all spiders or just certain spiders. I think when you kill them, they release some kind of either smell or pheromone or something that attracts other spiders. So it's recommended obviously not to kill them, but specifically not to squash them so that you don't attract more. obviously I haven't gone, to a proper source to check whether it's true or not, but I used it as an additional rationale for not
Right.
killing them. Because I tell myself, no, because if you kill them, there'll be more. So,
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
use a
That
cup.
makes sense. I think it's the same thing with ants as well.
Or
Possibly.
slugs, I think
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
I feel like also slugs, but I don't know. I just know. I mean, slugs eat each other. So if you kill a slug,
Ooh.
then others will come to eat. Yeah, they're like that. They eat their own bodies. They
You
Oh
know,
my
you
God.
say slugs. Oh my gosh. When I
not our
first moved
favorites
to this
probably.
house, you know what? When I was very, very little, I used to find it very fascinating looking at snails and slugs and just sitting there and just looking at them and watching them. My mum didn't like it because she found them really disgusting. But I used to find it really fascinating. But I was very little, so I did not know a lot about the world. But when I moved to this house, I think before I moved here, nobody lived here for quite a few months. So the heating wasn't really on, and the kitchen is like an extension to the garden. For the first maybe 2-3 months, like the first time, I found a slug in the freaking kitchen on the floor, and I was like, what the heck is that? It was just so weird. And for the first like 2-3 months, kid you not, I could find a random slug here and there, and one even crawled right into the like dining room, and it just I got so
They're
not
sneaky.
scared, but it just you can be here, but in the garden. You can't be indoors. You can be outdoors, but not indoors. But I think they crawled through the pipes because it
Yes.
wasn't used for
Yes.
so long. Then it took a while to like get rid of them. I haven't seen anything yet, but in the garden, loads of snails. But the slugs, it wasn't even like gray slugs. Some of them were like green. I mean,
Wow.
it was just not good. Why am I
It was
talking about this? Ugh,
it was a
no.
third encounter of no, close encounter of the third or fourth kind.
Yes. Yes. It was
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. I
No. I wish
always used to
nobody
like snails. Like, I find them really cute with their little houses, and I have
Yes.
also like stories of me rescuing snails from like when the rivers or not all the little streams went high, and then all the snails. When I was just like rescuing handfuls of snakes, and I was putting them. I was a weird kid. I was putting them on my face. I was just, oh, this feels nice. But slugs, not so much with slugs. Slugs, I always had this kind of it felt a little gross. But I guess I also have this experience, like if I guess I must have run over or accidentally stepped
Yes.
on them
Yes.
as well,
Yes.
and that's just. I'm sorry, listeners, that it's really like it's like TW trigger warning kind of gross, right? We should have said slugs. Yeah, it gets really gross when they pop, right? And that was just, oh, yeah, I don't like it. But I was also thinking we are probably also a little bit privileged. Like, I think if I had like lived in Australia or been grown up in Australia, I probably would have been a little bit more afraid of spiders, maybe. Because I mean, I think if you grow up with like knowing these things can kill you, whatever it is,
Yes.
I mean, either you're like insane and you're just like, oh, whatever, I still like you. So maybe I would still be like that. I don't know, play with fate. But
Or maybe
it's
it's
more,
exposure.
yeah, it's
Or
exposure.
y-
You.
No, yeah, because I think I don't know the whole of Australia, obviously, but I
Mm,
have a fair amount of friends or acquaintances here that are from Australia.
mm,
And whenever we talk about, not that the topic of spiders comes up very often, but whenever we talk about spiders, or whenever they witness a spider, they're very chilled. They're like,
mm,
because again, they become part of your environment. You stay away from them,
mm,
mindful of them, but
mm.
I guess it also helps you not being so afraid, I guess.
Yeah, because it's really harmless. Like all the spiders we have here in Europe, they don't do anything. I mean, we barely have any animals that are dangerous to us as humans here in Europe.
Yes.
So it's really kind of privileged, and it's a different kind of way of relating to animals. And again, I mean, we could talk about what humans usually do with animals that they're scared of. They kill them, right? So I mean, the
Mm.
wolves and bears, we used to have them in mid-Europe. We still have them in Norway, but also here the relationship is still a little bit iffy because, some people, they're still scared, and then they're like, ooh, there's like a wolf pack around, and then a lot of people are like, we need to protect the wolves. And then the others like, no. Speaking of
I
which, when
think,
I was a child, it was wolves. I think
mm,
wolves was one of the animals. Always cats. So Black Panther, also when I was a child, loved Black Panthers. Probably like the Bagheera had a thing there. Jungle Book,
Yes,
Bagheera, probably.
yes, yes,
Yeah, but I didn't see Disney movies as much as you did, Luigi, when I grew up. I wasn't so much into, or wasn't always allowed either. Or I don't know. It was strange. Didn't see all the movies. But my grandmother used to read me the Jungle Book, like the Kipling
yes,
original with the original
yeah.
drawings in
Illustrations.
it. Yeah,
Mm.
illustrations. So it was the Jungle Book. So it was both Mowgli and Bagheera, but also the Rikki Tikki Tavi, the mongoose, and all the other stories that were in this. So
Yes,
yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
grew up on that.
beautiful.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
The wolf is very fascinating as an animal, and I guess it carries
Mm.
so much symbolism as well.
Mm.
But yeah, I was wondering because we did talk about spiders, but I was just wondering, even though a couple of you specifically, Lynn and Adriana, said I love all animals, but if you want to entertain the thought, is there any other animal that you can think of that you're kind of quote unquote petrified of?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Amelie, I think was the first to definitely nod her head. So if you go
Mhm.
first, what petrifies you, Amelie?
I absolutely detest ticks. They're
Oh
the
yes,
most
Ah,
useless
yes,
bloody animal there
yes,
is, and I
true.
wish they could just get abolished. Like, I absolutely hate them. And
That will
I
count as
know that there's
pests,
That's Parasite. Yeah, like
that's
parasites. Yeah,
abominable.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's just such a nuisance. I mean, I'd rather be, have mosquito bites
Yeah.
anything. And I know there's so many other scary animals around the world, but I just feel like ticks, and also because they're so tiny, it's not like
Mm.
you can see them. If you see like a tiger, you can be like, whoa, and you walk around it, you see a
Mm.
bear, you're like, okay, you kind of, but ticks,
Unless it's in your face, it's like, oh gosh.
yeah, exactly. But
it's
ticks
the
is just like
invisible
you just
threat.
don't know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
feel that
just,
really changed. Like when I was a child, like, I mean, I feel there weren't as many ticks around when I was a child because, I was just strolling around in the fields outside in the meadows and I would not get one.
Yes,
I had one tick one time when I was a child and I didn't even notice. My mom noticed, right? But so I wasn't scared. But then when I got older and I got exposed to like, you just sit somewhere like on a rock and then suddenly you see like ticks crawling around and you're like, oh shit. And then I started getting this trepidation to being like barefoot in like the fields. So it's like stuff that I love, but I was like, ugh. Or going barefoot or with like short like trousers
yes,
or so in the woods because that's how you get ticks. So I got like scared of doing that, and yeah. But that's also like because for me the scary thing about ticks is because all that the diseases they carry and they carry them
yes,
often,
yes,
they can
yes,
kill you. Yeah. So this
yes,
is one of those, and like, yeah, so basically retract what I said earlier, like we are quite privileged here, but we still have animals that can kill us with the diseases, and the ticks are one of those.
Mm.
That's why I very much do not like them. I've been more
Mm.
exposed now with my job as vet tech. Obviously, we get, ticks, or I have a dog and I have a cat. But the good thing is now, actually, since getting a dog, and he has tick medication, so the ticks die on him. But since I have a dog, he gets all the ticks and they die almost immediately. And I have not gotten a single tick on me since I got him. So I got more relaxed. I got a bit more
He's
relaxed
like a
about them.
shield.
Yeah, he's a tick shield, really.
do
Yeah.
ticks like dogs better because of the fur or something?
I think it's the heat. Yeah, I mean they are attracted to heat, and then they are lower to the ground and they're warmer, and then it's much easier to hide. So I think they do attract them easier. We're not as attractive as a prey, and I think also because we're not as warm. So they probably would choose a dog over you if you're next to each other. But if you're
Okay, that's
leaning
it. I'm
against a
getting a
tree,
dog.
yeah, but if you're leaning against a tree and there's one like crawling down, it's probably still gonna choose you. It's not gonna go around and then choose your dog, right? So, but I've not had a single tick on me, and many that I pick out of him in tick season.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. What about you guys, Adriana? Like, do you have something that you're afraid
Oh,
of?
plenty, plenty.
Plenty.
Most of them are insects, you know,
Mm-hmm.
mosquitoes to me.
Mhm.
And when I go to Colombia, I attract, I think, all the mosquitoes that are in the
Mhm.
area. They come to me, God bless them. But really. And particularly that we grew up with the apprehension of mosquitoes that give you malaria, or they give you dengue, or they can give you the other viruses, like it was very famous in Brazil as well, that is when you get dengue or you get malaria is extremely painful. It is a horrendous diseases, So yes, I have that. I have head lices.
Yeah. Lice.
That is something that is very creepy. My son, when he was in primary school, he got them, and I have nightmares that they were crawling on top of me and so on. Oh God. So yes, insects in general. Once in a farm in Colombia, I couldn't sleep because in the tropics there are so many insects that they are so ugly. Even the mantis, you are going to the toilet and you find a mantis there. You are
It's
like
waiting
going
for
to
you.
you are going to pee and you are looking everywhere because they're attracted. At night time, you turn the lights on and it's like a welcome party for all the insects that you had never imagined they exist in the planet, but they are there. And there was one night, I couldn't sleep. It was like a chunky noise, crunchy, crunchy, crunchy noise. And I thought, oh my goodness, what is in here? And I put a little torch and I light the torch and I checked where the noise was coming. I was on the wall next to my head because I could hear it. It was a cucaracha like this big, eating another insect, devouring it, crunchy. I could hear the
God.
crunchiness.
That's nightmare fuel.
I
Yeah.
was with the torch, making myself so small, with the light, like the lightsabers of Star Wars, trying to kill her just with the light, because I was petrified of fear of that huge cucaracha eating that thing, and I could hear the crunchiness of that.
Oh, yeah.
So yes, that when you are in a tropical country, believe me, you are petrified of a lot of things, particularly insects, Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
went to
bet.
Nicaragua when I was way younger. So we stayed there for almost a month and we lived like in this village and stuff. The cockroaches there, I'd
Yeah.
never seen such big cockroaches in my
Yes.
entire life.
Yes.
And there was another thing. We went into city and people that when you have like shops on one side and the street in the middle, what
Yeah.
the shop owners did, they were like kicking the cockroaches to the other side so they would die on the other side, so they will
Yes.
get all the cockroaches over there.
Yes.
So it was like a
God.
thing, like a game they play. And it was
God,
just so normal. I'm like, why? Why?
Another thing is ants, because in South America you can find ants that are huge. They are very big, And my father was telling me stories. He loved to scare us anyway, and he was saying that in the countryside he knew a man who was a drunkard, and he went walking back to their hut or wherever they used to live, and he fall asleep against a tree, and the ants kill him. Because ants can bite humans and they release a poison, And when you have millions of ants on top of you, when they found the man, he was completely covered of ants and he died, So he was saying to me, don't go at night, don't fall
Was this a
asleep
real
against a tree.
story?
Yeah,
After
was this
my
a
dad,
real
it was a
story?
serious story. And yes, and particularly father was
Wow.
a pilot, and he was having an airline that was flying to the Amazonian rainforest and everything like that. He took me once there, and I was petrified of all the insects I saw, the ants and the thing that I was jumping all over the place. I didn't really enjoy it. I hated the Amazonian rainforest.
Scorpions as well.
Oh, yeah,
Because
so
Scorpions.
scary.
it's like everything grows in quantities, and it seems like everyone wants to feed from you. So it was not very pleasant. And the weather, because it's so humid, it's damp, and it's hot, so you feel that you are sweaty and sticky, and all this insect is trying to get you. So no, it's not for me.
It's
No.
such a different world. I find it like so fascinating. It's like we are like from like Europe, just Southern Europe, Northern Europe, but you're like used to ours, and then you bring like always this other world into the mix growing up in such a different place.
What I love, yes, is like the iguanas and the lizards, and I love them because they eat all the insects. So I'm so happy to see them when they're around. But Colombia is the second, the most biodiverse country in the planet. So obviously,
what's first?
India, I think, or something like that. That is
Okay.
like 10 times bigger than us. But
But
Colombia, but
What
Colombia,
about the UK is very down at the bottom?
but Colombia is, I think, the most diverse in nature, in plants and in animals. So imagine you can find everything, and we are the first in birds. So yes,
there's so
we
many.
have a
They
lot of
probably count
different
mostly
birds.
insects.
Yes, yes.
There's so
yes.
many insects that haven't even been found yet in the jungles and everything. So every now and then they discover a new one. But yeah, I find this whole jungles, I find it so interesting because you do live like very different lives. I have a friend, so this is not my story, but I have a friend who's from Puerto Rico, and he grew up quite poor. There's also these stories with like animals they just had in the house because you just catch a parrot and then you have a parrot, because why not?
Yes.
Or you catch a monkey and then you have a monkey because why not? Or an iguana. And he also told me like how amazing or interesting iguanas are, but his fear was not so much the insects, but he has it's childhood trauma again, like related, but he told me that when he was very small, their place like got flooded several times. So there were frogs everywhere. So he has like this trauma of like frogs. Yeah, so it's a bit different. You like them. For him, it was like really scary. Like if he sees frogs or snakes because they remind him of that time when everything got flooded and they were everywhere. Plus there's poisonous ones, I think, as well. So it's like, it's a bit of a different story.
Little frogs, they are okay, but they are horrendous and very horrible thoughts. The thoughts,
the big ones, the bull
the
like
big
the
ones,
big
they
ones
are
as well.
so old, and they swallow like that and so on. And in Colombia, we have the most poisonous frog in the planet. These yellow ones, the little yellow ones that with
So
the black
lucky.
thing like that. So yes, but it's again in the rainforest.
But to say,
just lick it.
It reminds me, what episode was it? Either Futurama or no?
I think
maybe
Futurama.
It was a Simpsons.
I also think either Futurama or Simpsons, but I feel it's a very
the
Futurama.
Toads, the whole Toad
there's something you lick
episode.
it and, I feel it's a Futurama thing. I'm not sure. Louis, you didn't say. What are you scared of?
Wait, let me think. So specifically, and this is again childhood episode. Everything that buzzes. So even though I know that we need the honeybees, but even if I hear the buzzing of a bee, I freak out because when I was bees, wasps, bumblebees, any other kind of bee, wasps. Yeah, and wasps are very common as well in Italy. Especially in the summer, and they would choose spots by the windows. So you're like trying to open the window to get some fresh air, and then all of a sudden, your nightmares are alive. But I think it's because my mom and dad blessed them, I suppose. But when I was like 4, or either 4 or 3, I don't know, I was able to talk and walk, but it wasn't primary school years yet. So I was very, very young and very, very susceptible. They took us, they were making honey. So they wanted us my sister and I, to witness the making of the honey. But obviously, my dad had the uniform, like with the protection and everything else. My mom and I and my sister, we were just exposed like that from the very beginning, mostly because I was a very lazy child and a very uninterested child. When they said like, come on, let's go. We were in the car and this was in the mountains. And I'm like, you go, I'll stay here. Mostly because I didn't want to go anywhere. But at the back of my subconscious, I was like, something's bad is going to happen. Whenever you drag me in one of yours natural adventure, something bad always happens. And so I kicked a fuss because I was like, no, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. And they took me, took us. My dad starts throwing smoke at them at the beehive. And then all of a sudden they get very angry, very mad, and they start chasing us, like the whole swarm.
Yeah.
chases me
Oof.
and my mom and my sister. I try to block that out, so I don't remember 100% everything, but I remember like hearing them either in my ears or even getting in my ear because there were so many of them. It was very bad. From that day, every time I hear the bzzz.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's buzzing creatures such as bees, but I know that bees are important, but mostly like wasps and hornet. And especially those chunky ones, like not like the Japanese ones, but in Italy we call them, and I think it's a nickname. I don't think it's the real name. Horse killers, because the say is that
Wow.
one sting will kill a human and 7 stings will kill a horse. So they're quite chunky and quite big. And when they buzz, it's like a concert. It's like a rave almost. So I used to be so scared. I still am, but I obviously don't see them much anymore because here, because of the
Yes.
cold weather, nothing can live.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's them. I'm not necessarily terrified, but I am mindful of it because, we were, by the mountains, the vipers. So there was a genuine caution towards the vipers because in the northern
Yes.
mountains of Italy,
Yes.
there are quite a lot of vipers, and I don't know if they're deadly. I mean, I think if you get to the hospital, they can get you treatment. But I mean, and I've never been bit either. But according to stories, the bite of a viper can be quite serious. So yeah, that's something that I always gave me anxiety as a child because we were like in that area. But naturally, snakes, they're more afraid of you than you are of them. I think the only trouble is when they're having babies because they can't move as easily. But if you stomp into their territory, then you're in a bit more danger because the snake will not move. So
Yeah.
will try to bite you to protect themselves and the eggs.
Yeah, or
Eggs?
if you corner them. Yeah, they have eggs. Yeah, or if you corner them and they have no way out, then they're more likely to attack. So,
Yeah, in the wild, it's hard to corner them because they can get anywhere. But I remember that we were driving, and there was something that looked like a stick, but it wasn't. It was a pregnant viper, and she was chunky, very very fat. And I remember when we stopped, my dad went out and tried to deal with it, but I was petrified because of all those stories. I was like, "We're gonna die. I'm not gonna see my 7th birthday. I'm not gonna live past. I'm not gonna see Spider-Man 2. I'm not gonna get to see Spider-Man 2."
Ah, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree with Audrey. I mean, I used to have a pet snake, and that was mostly because I've never had a snake and I've always found them interesting. And it was in a time where I lived in an apartment that I wanted an animal, but I couldn't like have anything like furry or not something that used a lot of space. So I was like, yeah, let's get a snake. So I got it's a ball python in English. I got a ball python, and bless him because I mean they're so sweet. They're really social snakes. And they really like your like warmth, and he was a very sweet personality. And thanks to him, some of the people I knew in that time, they got over their fear of snakes because you get scared of snakes, but then he's just like it's like, oh, I'm a little scared, and ooh, and he would kiss your face and say, oh, he was amazing. So yeah, but
I just looked it up to see what it looks like.
ball pythons, yeah, like they're like the natural color is like white with like the brown with the black and spots and like the white. And they're really cute, and they curl up into a ball. That's why they're called ball pythons, because when they're scared, they curl up. So yeah, and they're also really I mean, it's very interesting, I think, to be with animals that you don't know very much about or that there's not so much science about. Like obviously we know a lot about dogs because dogs have been with human beings for 10,000s of years, and there's been a lot of, stuff being scienced about dogs. And not so much many other animals, and not really snakes either. So it's like, I know nothing, I knew nothing of snakes. So I got a book before getting a snake, and I'm reading through the book, and then I had a snake, and then it's like, oh, this is very interesting. And I would have not thought that they would actually be social animals. It's a reptile. It's something that's completely different from us mammals. It's easy. I think it's easier to understand another mammal than it is maybe to understand a bird or like a
Oh,
reptile.
I feel that the dogs are fascinating, and particularly there is a lot of, as well as you say, not only history and even scientific, but they have been part of a companion of the humanity for so many millennia that is as well an esoteric and mystical and everything, psychological approach to dogs that to me it sounds fascinating, So just a few information that I didn't know that dogs in various mythologies, they are considered psychopomps. Psychopomps means the guides to the underworld, or soul guide. So like, or protectors, this magic spaces, so we have Cerberus that we know Cerberus maybe for Harry Potter as well. That, yes,
Or
that
for Greek
is,
mythology as well.
I know from Greek
yes,
mythology. I didn't know that
yes,
it was in Harry Potter.
but it's to
It's
prevent
called
the
something
death.
different.
Or Thoth,
But it's to
the
prevent the
hermit
death
card.
coming from living Hades or the humans, the alive ones, to go into Hades. Do you know the three heads can represent the past, the present, and the future? So
Not
I didn't know
surprised.
that. I didn't know that. Well, we have as well Anubis in Egypt, that is often depicted, like the black jackal canine. That is the god of mummification and the afterlife, that is acting as psychopomp. I love that word. I'm in love with that, psychopomp.
Yeah, it's a great word. It's a great word.
Yeah, psychopomps.
Yeah, I like it too. That's a good. I like psychopomps.
Yes, who leads the souls to see the scale of justice, But you might know that one in the Norse mythology as well, the Garm, that is
Got him.
the guards, that is the guard at the gates of the Helheim. So yes, I found that, dogs has been their part of the history of humanity. And they had very symbolic meanings as well in religion, like Hinduism. The dogs, they were sacred companions to several deities. There is the Bhairava, that is a form of Shiva. We use a black dog as his vehicle, symbolizing protection and loyalty. In the Mahabharata, the hero Yudhishthira refuses to enter heaven without the stray dog that follow him, that it was revealed to be Dharma. So, the god of righteousness. And
Yeah.
Zoroastrianism, dogs, they were considered extremely pure and righteous beings. And they have a ritual that involves a dog gazing at a deceased person to confirm death and to ward off of evil spirits. So I found like that as well. In Buddhism, you had the four dogs as well that they represent the yin and yang, the beginning and the end as well, all related as well to death. But I found some little research about the pre-Columbian native from Colombia. And there was the dogs in one of these cultures, and the Muiscas, they were associating the dog with afterlife and the elite. So just if you were of high society, they will bury you with your dogs in order for your dog to serve as psychopomp again, by helping the others navigate the spiritual journey. So I found that it was like another aspect of the dog that is probably not very well known, that is this sense of being the guardian between this reality and the afterlife, and and guiding you into the afterlife. But it was very funny because you have other cultures that are completely intolerant towards dogs, like Islam, because they consider the saliva of the dog is not good for the purity ritual, for the prayers. Christianity as well, in the Bible, metaphors to dogs to the outsiders, unfaithful, or base instinct, So they were the unclean, And just like a historical conflict in the region of in Persia, now that is Iran, that's already, the same conflict that we have nowadays. Persecution of dogs was sometimes used by the conquering Arab forces as a political tool to suppress the indigenous Zoroastrian culture. because for them, the dog was held one of the most highest religious regard for these animals.
And I guess, like, at some point, maybe not necessarily now, but because we were talking about dogs so much, it might be interesting to have a brief conversation about the fool's dog, maybe the most popular dog out there for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we have several dogs because the fool doesn't have one right in the top. But
Yes,
we
the
do
fool
have
has
we have
one.
Cerberus.
Yes.
Yeah, we have Cerberus in the Thoth.
In the Hermit.
In the Hermit, yeah. So there's a dog, but we have several. There's also a dog in the Ten of Discs, isn't there?
The 10 of
There
this,
is,
they have two.
Ten of Discs is also a
dogs,
dog in the Smith
Yes.
book.
Some rumor that there's 3 and not even 2, but yeah, that's another
Okay.
nice conversation.
Is it though?
Maybe we should make an episode about animals
In the
in
tarot?
Thoth deck in the tarot.
Yeah.
And just in the tarot, animals in the tarot. That would be interesting.
So yes,
Yeah.
To be noted.
I think that every relationship that we build up as humans, we have grew up with other species as well. And we have, created like mystical or spiritual or esoteric relationship or, psychological relationship with animals. And that it will be fascinating to explore a little bit further because they are part of our psychic, it's part of our personality as well. We have as well as the zodiac, they have animals, the Chinese, they have animals, and we have animal guides, and there is a lot of things that we can go in depth.
Would this be a good time, though, to reveal the card that you chose at the beginning, Lynn? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me see. Yes, I guess it could be a good idea to reveal the card. It is not a card that has an animal in it. So
No
that
way!
No.
Oh,
I was betting money on it.
But I could have just cheated and I could have taken a deck that has only animals in it because in that case there might have been, but I didn't. I could have thought about that earlier, but I did not because bling.
We can cheat next time.
Yes, we can cheat next time. But I have a feeling it has a little bit to do with maybe Adriana's animal, I think. It's like if I were to choose any animal that works with this card, then it's what Adriana talked about. Any ideas?
Snakes.
No.
No. Horses.
No.
Oh, I got it wrong. Who's giving the third guess?
a
You
big
still
cow.
think about
Snake.
No.
Universe
no.
card, a snake.
No, you're thinking. No, I think you're thinking either too complicated
Dogs.
or too easy. Yeah, it's about dogs, but it's the Three of Discs.
Oh, it's the 3 of Discs.
It's the Three of Discs.
Oh.
So yes, which is all about cooperation, working together. And I think for all the animals we talked about, that would be like the dog.
Yes.
The animal that has been cultivated to work with us humans for so many thousands of years in different aspects. Like first as a hunter and a guardian. The dog still has these jobs. We still have hunting dogs, sort of protectors, guard dogs, and all these different, and now we have herding dogs as well. It came a little later in history with the herders. But all that, yes. So Three of Discs?
Yes. And particularly that in the other deck is the Mason in the medieval church, that the expertise of collaborating and working together. So yes, that is an association there of progressing or creating things, associated with a relationship of loyalty and fidelity. Yes, excellent. Yes. Thank you.
I don't think. I mean, it doesn't only apply to dogs. I feel like we could extrapolate and be like, we should be cooperating. We could also see this that we should be cooperating with say humans, animals. I mean, we're also animals, right? But humans, animals, and nature. To make the world go round and make it function because we all belong to the same ecosystem. We are all part of the same thing. And instead of fighting each other, and destroying each other, if we were just to live in harmony, here's the shaman speaking, right? If we were just able to live or the animist, I'm an animist, right? So instead of just, being stupid and destroying everything, if we could just, live together. I say live together in harmony is like a little bit, it's a bit pink, because if you look at nature is quite cruel and it's quite harsh as well. But there's a balance in everything. And there are
and I think
symbiotic relationships, and it works, and it's not destructive. You kill because you're hungry. You're not overkilling because not for fun and not because of like things like, war or whatnot. It's for food, and there's a balance in all of it. And if there's too much of, say, a rabbit, then a lot of rabbits will be killed. And also there's a balance again. So it's them, yeah.
But I think
also, I find in this myth deck, I also feel like it's about bats, because in that room, that darkness over there loads of bats in there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That is bats, absolutely.
Loads of bats in there.
And rats.
Yeah. And there's probably a cat hiding behind the pillar. You're just ready to come out for somebody to stumble over. So yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I like what you said about, the three corners of the pyramid. That could very much be the vegetable, mineral, and animal kingdom.
Okay.
That, yeah. Any last words?
Now I really want to get a dog. I really want to get a pet after all this conversation.
I have an extra because I found it, but I have a deck right with me that has a lot of animals. Again, this is Stephanie Law's Verdance deck, her latest tarot deck. And here for the 3 of coins for her. Luigi, sorry about that, but it's
Noisy bees.
It's bees, but they're not buzzing.
They're not buzzing.
It's
They're
the
quiet.
worker bees. They're worker bees. That's why they're there, I assume.
Yeah, it's 3 different. I think, no, it's the 3 different types of bees. So we have in the middle, you have the queen bee, and then you have a worker bee, like a drone bee, and you have a honey bee, because in the beehive, you have different, you have also different jobs, and you also work together in order to make your hive function. So, yeah.
I do like bumblebees, though. I just find them so cute because, in theory, they're basically flying because they want to fly, because they're defying gravity. They're just so big. They're not supposed to be able to fly, but they really want to fly, so they fly. And I think that they're really cute.
What does that teach us?
That we can achieve all that we want.
We can
do whatever we want. Be a little bit plump.
We just, that's what opinions. If you really want something, if you really, really want something, and we don't...
Eat the cake.
Yeah, eat the cake. Just eat it. Don't believe what other people say. They're saying, you cannot fly. You just, maybe don't jump off a cliff, don't do that. Unless it's a magical cliff and you're the fool, you might try it. But still, if you really believe in it, maybe just make it work for you. Alrighty.
So mote it be.
So mote it be. Well, thanks, guys. That's for tonight's episode. We sidestepped a little bit and went into the animal kingdom. I think there was a really interesting insight from all of us with our favorite animals, and probably revealed a lot of our psyche. Why we like the animals we like, or why we're scared of the animals we are maybe scared of. If you enjoyed, just drop a comment below. Remember to subscribe, and see you all in the next rabbit hole. Bye.
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 We are the voices of the Occultinarium. Welcome to the rabbit holes.